Did you know that nearly 35,000 US troops are still stationed in Germany today, almost 80 years after World War II? For some Germans, this partnership is essential. For others, it's controversial. Why are they still here? And how do Germans like me feel about it? Let's break it down. Hey everyone, my name is Misha. I grew up just minutes away from Ramstein Air Force Base, the largest US military installation outside of the United States. For 28 years, I lived side by side with Americans playing baseball with their kids, celebrating Halloween, and learning to live in two worlds. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Today, we'll explore why US bases are still here in Germany, how they shape local communities, and why opinions about them are so divided. And stick around, because we'll also discuss what could happen if the US ever decides to leave Germany entirely. Let's take a quick trip back in time to understand how we even got here. After World War II, Germany was divided in 4 occupation zones controlled by the US, UK, France, and the Soviet Union. As tensions with the Soviet Union escalated, Germany became the front line of the Cold War. NATO relied heavily on US troops to protect Western Europe from potential Soviet aggression. At its peak during Cold War, there were over 250,000 US troops stationed in Germany. While most NATO countries pulled all their troops after the Cold War, the US maintained a significant presence, around 35,000 troops across 20 bases today. Why? Because Germany's central location makes it a strategic hub for NATO. But what exactly makes these bases so strategically important today? Germany is more than just another country hosting US troops. It's a key part of NATO's global strategy. Ramstein Air Force Base isn't just the largest US base outside of the United States and in Europe, it's the nerve center for global operations. Commands like AirCon oversee NATO's air operations, while EUCON handles military operations across Europe and parts of Russia and even Greenland. The US presence in Germany ensures quick response times to threats in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. For example, during the war in Afghanistan, Ramstein was a major transit point to troops and supplies. And more recently, with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, these bases have been critical for reinforcing NATO's eastern flank. But does this global importance justify the continued presence of US troops in Germany? Let's explore what it's like for the people actually living near these bases. For me, this topic is personal. Growing up near Ramstein, I saw firsthand how these bases actually impact the local communities. The US military pumps about $2 billion annually into the local economy. American families rent homes, shop in German stores, and eat at local restaurants. The base also employs around 7,200 Germans, making it one of the region's largest employers. Culturally, it's a unique mix. As a kid, I learned baseball and basketball from my American neighbors, celebrated Halloween, and experienced traditions that weren't part of the German culture. Fun fact, Halloween wasn't even a thing in Germany until Americans brought it here. Now it's pretty huge. But it's not all positive. Military convoys can cause traffic jams, and low-flying planes can disrupt daily life. Some locals find these bases intrusive, even if they're vital to the local economy. So how do Germans as a whole feel about this? This is where things get interesting, because opinions across Germany are divided. In 2022, nearly 50% of Germans supported reducing the number of US troops, while 25% wanted them gone entirely. But after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, more than half of Germans wanted the base to stay, viewing them as crucial for NATO's defense. Not everyone agrees. Protests over drone strikes allegedly coordinated from Ramstein have sparked heated debates previously. Some see the bases as a form of soft occupation, raising questions about sovereignty and international law. Interestingly, most protests don't come from people living near these bases. For locals, the sentiment is often more positive. They see the economic and cultural benefits every every day. But what happens if the US decides to leave Germany entirely? Let's take a look at the bigger picture. So what would happen if the US packed up and left Germany? Locally, the impact would be massive. Thousands of jobs tied directly to the military would disappear. Countless businesses that depend on American spending would struggle to survive. Just look at towns like Bamberg, where bases closed years ago and businesses are still recovering. Globally, NATO would lose a critical hub. Without Ramstein, NATO's ability to respond quickly to crises in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East would be significantly weakened. Experts warn that this could embolden adversaries like Russia, who might see it as a sign of Western disunity. And then there is the cultural side. For decades, these bases have been bridges between German and American communities. Without them, a unique connection would fade, along with traditions, friendships, and shared experiences. For me, growing up near Ramstein was like living in two worlds. These bases aren't just military hubs. They're part of our lives, our economy, and our identity. But what do you think? Do you see the US military presence in Germany as a vital partnership, or is it time for a change? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If this topic interests you, make sure you check out my other videos about the cultural differences between the US and Germany. I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share it with some friends. I'll see you in the next one. Tschüss.